Hello everyone, welcome back. So another weekend in the books. A little bit of progress, not quite as far as we'd hoped. We're losing a little bit of time at the moment, just chasing around niggling little problems, but we're getting through them one by one. We did manage to get the car fired up again, which is exciting, and managed to pop it in gear, spin the diff over, spin the gearbox over, knock a bit of dust and gunk off the rear discs, and make it turn a wheel in anger for the first time. I've got that on video, which I'll share with you shortly. I just thought I'd quickly run through the niggling issues that we're, trying to find answers to. Now, before I go into it, I am absolutely not an expert in any of this stuff. So if I am wrong, please feel free to comment and let me know. I've spoken with a few guys that have been a great help during the week, and this is how it's all been explained to me and how I understand it. So you may have noticed in last week's startup video, there was a whistling sound, and it came in about 1.5 seconds after the engine started and continued for about that time after the engine was turned off. And what that is, it's a vacuum leak. So it's pulling air from outside the engine in through, say, the sump gasket or rocker cover gasket, something along those lines. Now, these engines are fully sealed when they're built. So as you can see there, your normal filler points, they're all welded up and everything's sealed. Same on the other side. So there's no engine breather or crankcase breather on them. And there's a vacuum created through the oil pump, which is external. And the theory with that is by running a vacuum inside the engine, it effectively sucks the piston rings and the engine internals. It makes them seal better and makes them perform better. And that gives you a significant horsepower increase. Now, what's happening is it's creating the vacuum, but we need to understand, is the vacuum too high, or is there an issue with the sealing surfaces? That's what we're working through at the moment. Now, what we're concerned about is if we continue to run the engine and it's trying to draw air from every spot it can, we run the risk of damaging a main seal or pulling a sump gasket through, or just doing something that we don't really need at the moment with the timeline we're on. So we spoke with a couple of engine experts, which have been a great help, and they just suggested, just for now, just to put a crankcase breather in the engine, just to run it. We've got some tools coming during the week to test how much the vacuum should be, how much it's running at the moment, and get some answers that way. So what we've done, just to show you, it had a speed flow fitting at the back, which was capped off, which you'll see there, and that had that just screwed in there. So we've been able to get a different fitting, screw it in the back of the rocker cover, and just run a crankcase breather out the side there. And we've also put a little bit of restriction in that line, so it's taken the pressure off it. So there's a nice little bit of air going in there. So when the engine's creating the vacuum, it can draw through that breather, not try and draw it through areas it shouldn't be. So that's creating a bit of an issue. And also we've got a bit of a fuel leak happening as well. Because we're running the engine at low revs, the amount of fuel that pumps into these engines, even at idle, is just astronomical. So some of it's leaking out the bottom of the trumpets and down the back of the engine. So that's something we've got to get an answer to throughout the week as well. But as far as the engine running wise, it runs perfect. It's just a couple of little things that we want to make sure is right given the cost of these engines. So basically from here, I'll put the video up of the fire up earlier today and putting it in gear. It's only a short video, we only ran it for a short time, and then I'll be back to explain where we go from here. So as you can see, it all worked pretty well. The gearbox and everything has all been spun up. We ran through a few gears. The diff's been turned over in anger. The main reason for that is you can fill up your gearbox and your diff and change all the fluids, but this car has coolers built into it. So if we open the door and come in here, you'll see there it's got a gearbox and diff cooler. So all that was flushed out. So you fill up your gearbox and your diff, and then you prime it up, and all those lines have got to be filled. So it's not really until you turn it over properly that you know the levels are set in the right spot. So we're able to, just by turning it over briefly like we did, we could then get back under the car and understand where the levels need to be. So that's all done, which is really good. We can now let the car sit and make sure there's no leaks, and if there is, we'll attend to it. But yeah, the main priority now is to get back under the front end of the car and understand what we need to do to get this engine right. We'll speak with some people that know a lot more about them than I do. And once that's done, we'll get the airbox on and get the last of the ducting on, and we'll share the answers with you, and hopefully we'll be able to get the car back on the track and make a lot more noise than what we've made so far. So thanks again for your support. And if you've got any questions or comments, please let us know, and we'll speak with you soon.